Hello, everyone. Today we're going to take a deeper dive on opposition and acceptance. So this will be somewhat of a review, but again, we'll go deeper. So if you remember, we talked about the various forms of opposition, and some of which are judgmentalism, denial, controlling others, attempting to control others, ignorance, comparison, etc. So my suggestion today is all forms of opposition are forms of a lack of self-acceptance. So we're going to loop back to something we addressed earlier, and I gave some examples of errors in perception. And these are errors in perception about oneself. For example, and as we go through this, you can do a little reflection, self-reflection. I am not worthy. That is pervasive in our culture, I think, based on the work I've done with people over 25 years. So we're now into doing what I call the archaeology of the psyche. I am not worthy. Nothing I do is enough. This is a belief I carried for many years coming out of my family dynamics. So nothing I do is enough. It didn't matter how much I did, it wasn't enough. Now, I don't know what enough was, but it is a belief, and these are beliefs that are basically false. Nothing I do is good enough. Sort of the same kind of theme. And here's one out of my family. Bad things are going to happen. So the prediction of the future is fairly ominous. It's dark and cloudy. And another that's particularly devastating. I am ashamed of myself. So if we go back to McLaren's work and what I talked about earlier, shame is a mood of guilt. Shame basically says, there's something wrong with me. So keep in mind, these are not true. They're false. I don't know my purpose. So very simply, purpose is being and doing from what we really are. That is purpose. How that plays out varies with the individual. I am fine the way I am. Now that's a particularly slippery one because what I'm pointing to here, I am fine the way I am. I'm cutting myself off from feedback from the world and denying my shortcomings. This is too good to be true. So things are going well right now, but in the future, they're not going to be going so well. This is too good to be true. I can take care of myself. Well, that's based in the illusion of separation. We are not alone. I don't deserve this or it. Well, yes, you do. You put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into what you have right now. And you do deserve it. There is something wrong with me. That goes back to shame. I have seen people live in shame, and it's not comfortable. And it's also not true. I am a phony or a fake. I actually had a minister tell me that he lived with that belief. So every time he gave a sermon, in the back of his mind, I'm a phony and a fake, and somebody's going to see through it. I am alone in this. Again, no, we're not. I will find my completeness through another. That is the downfall of relationships. The purpose of relationships is not to find our completeness through another, but to share our completeness with the other. Because we're already complete. I am a failure. There is not enough. A counter belief to that is that there is abundance. I am obliged, based in the illusion of requirement, that there are obligations in life. I will suggest no, there aren't. That's a tough pill to swallow for some people, but in the future we'll talk about the distinction between obligation and responsibility. That is responsibility. I will be punished forever for my mistakes. I'll repeat something I said earlier from A Course in Miracles, that karma and sin are not wrongs to be punished, but mistakes to be corrected. So it's a mistake on who and what we really are. And by the way, that correction typically is in the form of forgiveness and or amends. I am better than others. So the illusion of superiority, which basically comes from inferiority. I don't know what's going on here. And in a more extreme form, I don't know what's going on here and I don't want to know. So that's called boredom or confusion. Love is conditional. So we go through relationships and talk about, I love you very much. Some people are really saying, I deal with you very much. I'll love you as long as you attend to my needs. And last, on this list anyway, I can't. So if you notice yourself saying to yourself or to others, I can't, very disempowering. So I want to remind everyone of those forms of opposition and how they play out through belief systems, like we just covered. Now here's the value, some of the value of shifting from opposition to acceptance. And by the way, those beliefs are opposing oneself. They're not true. So here are some of the value of acceptance. Acceptance is unbounded or unlimited. So when we accept what is, we're now in a state of peace. And by the way, in a state of peace, you'll find yourself getting more done in less time. Acceptance brings us into presence with ourselves and others. We are more responsive, response-able. We live a very purposeful life. And by the way, very important book about purpose is Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. Highly recommended. We also move into two mood states called wonder and awe. Wonder and awe are the highest moods of learning and transformation. We move into knowing, that is knowing ourselves. I commonly say to people that we don't know the other. We might know about the other, but we certainly can know ourselves. We also live with humility. We're conscious, we're awake, creative, authentic. We live in a state of gratitude. We're in openness, live in a sense of unity. We forgive automatically, and we are cooperative.